All right, let's go ahead and get going. Find your tall seat, whether it's on a cushion, a blanket, or a towel. Making your hips elevated can help with the low back being uncomfortable or the hips being uncomfortable while you're sitting down. Basically, we're already in a forward fold, just sitting up tall. It is totally not possible for some people to do that without a support. So grab one if you want one. Let your hands rest onto the tops of your legs. Close your eyes. Landing here, feel where your feet land, where the outside of your ankles, outside of your legs land. Just taking this light inventory of presence, starting from the outside in. The physical, the most tangible. The spaces of the body we can move. The spaces we can feel land onto the floor. Or land into one another, hands onto knees. Maybe you feel where your clothing rests onto your body. Maybe there's this slight compression from your pants or your shorts. Maybe you feel the top of your shirt onto the top of your shoulders. These little things we don't usually take time to notice. And notice the physical expansion of the body as you breathe. Breathing into the navel. And feel the breath move back up and out through the nose. Aware of any sound the breath makes without creating it, just observing. Maybe you feel a slight pressure change in the nose or in the throat as you breathe in and out. Maybe instead of feeling the rib cage expand from the outside, not necessarily the shape you can see or feel pressing into your arms, see if you can notice how the breath changes from the inside of the body. Maybe you feel the origin of the expansion inside rib cage. And observe the navel filling as you breathe in, once again in through the nose, down all the way into the navel, down toward pelvis, towards sitting bones. And exhale, releases back up and out through the nose. Finding more movement, more external awareness through our asana practice, our poses, our shapes, our movements. And partway through practice, start to notice what these physical shapes have an effect on. Maybe the breath, maybe the heart rate, maybe how you feel. Setting an intention for this presence or this perception, this ability to observe, whatever suits your day to day. And bow your head to your chest to seal in your intention. And we'll blink the eyes open, take the head up, and make your way onto your back. So let the feet face what will be the front of your mat, the end of the mat that you will end up standing at. Releasing all the way onto your back. Make sure the head has a soft space to land. And hug the knees up into the chest. Feeling now where the tops of the legs may compress slightly into the abdomen. Maybe into lowest ribs, maybe even the chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. Feel the pressure change from one side of the torso to the other, rocking through the middle, through the spine. and landing evenly back onto the spine. As you exhale, feel the navel hug back toward the spine, toward the floor, anchoring low back curve. It's easiest when the knees are into the chest. Trying to keep it there as you inhale, extend the right leg out, flex the right foot away from you. Heel presses away, only lower it as much as you can keep the lower spine onto the floor. Exhale, take right knee back into the chest. Alternating left leg, inhale, extend out, flex the left foot away, navel stays drawn back. Exhale, left knee to chest. Right leg, inhale, extend out. Exhale, back in. Left leg, inhale, extend out. And exhale, back to the chest. This time, inhale, right leg out to stay out. Keep the left knee in. Stay to breathe here. Right heel presses away. Every exhale, draw navel back even more. Check in with it. If you need to, we can raise the right leg away from the floor to keep that lower back contact. And exhale, right knee into chest. Other leg to stay. Left leg, inhale, extend out. Left foot flexed away. Right knee stays in. Lower spine anchors. And bring the left knee back into the chest. Adding on, inhale, right leg out to stay out. This time more with the navel, not necessarily with the arms. Hug up, forehead to knee, knee toward forehead, curl up. Inhale, release shoulders and head back. As you exhale, right knee back into chest. Left leg, inhale, extend out, keep the leg out. Navel strong, curl up toward right knee, arms just help. Inhale, release back. Left knee, both knees to chest. One more time, each side, this variation. Inhale, right leg out. Exhale, hug up to left knee. Soften shoulders and head back. And right knee to chest. Left leg, inhale, extend to stay. Navel strong, curl up toward right knee. Inhale, release shoulders and head back. And left knee, both knees to chest. From here, please plant the soles of the feet to the floor. Take the arms wide out to the side and walk the feet a little wider than the hips. Release the knees to the left and stay for a moment here. Inside of the right knee hangs toward the floor, stretching through the front of the right hip flexor, maybe outside of right hip and right glute, perhaps down the leg to the knee. And as you inhale, point the knees back up. Release the knees to the right. Stay for a moment here, breathing. And inhale to point up. Walk the feet toward one another. Cross the right ankle over the top of the left thigh for figure 4. Right knee away from right shoulder and right chest. Pick up the left foot coming into figure 4. We can keep this active if you do want a more movement-oriented, active physical practice. Go ahead and take it with this option. Legs pressing into one another, creating a little resistance. If you'd prefer a passive stretchy practice, hold on to the left hamstring. And release the left foot and the right foot back to the floor. Switch sides. Left ankle over right thigh. Left knee away, pick up the right foot. Breathe here, staying strong, staying active, pressing the ankle into the right leg. Or add on our passive variation, hands around the back of the right leg. And release right foot and left foot to the floor. Take the arms down on either side of the torso, setting up for bridge pose. We will leave the arms down at the sides. Feet land into the floor. Press the heels into the ground. Press the shoulders back into the floor as you raise hip points, hip creases. Draw the navel back slightly. Same strength we had when we alternated knees to chest to bring some stretch into the front of the quads. Maybe you feel it just below hip points. Maybe you feel it in the outside or just above the knees. And glutes are helping to lift hip flexors, hip creases, and release back to the floor. Hug the knees up into the chest, tuck the hands behind the knees, rocking a couple times, head to tailbone, make your way into boat pose. Keeping the navel drawing back as it has been, but start to lift the chest. So lower spine, almost like it's in a rounded cat pose. Upper chest, almost like it's in a lifted cow pose. And shift forwards. Take the soles of the feet together. Come into diamond pose. Heels away from the hips. Hands can hold onto the shins or the ankles. Sit tall. Pull the shoulders into the back. Begin to lean forwards, hinging from the hip joints. Taking the navel forwards, not just the chest. Think of keeping a lift in the spine, at least for now. Making sure we've created our fold from hip joints. And once we know we have, we can walk the hands a little bit farther, maybe round just a little bit, not purposefully rounding or scrunching, but allow for some grace in the spine. And sitting up, go ahead and cross the legs. Cross the right shin in front of the left, please. Arms down at the sides, or hands down at the sides, rather. Keep the left hand to the floor. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Slide the left hand away from you. Exhale, reach up and over, long through right side. Inhale, lift up, and we'll switch. Right hand lands. Lift the left arm. Exhale, up and over. Inhale, lift up, one more each side. Left hand slides, right arm reaches up and over. Right hip stays toward the floor. Inhale, lift up, and switch. Left arm, exhale, up and over. Inhale, raise both hands up overhead. Take the arms all the way wide. Interlace hands behind the back. Open the chest, open the shoulders. Stay to breathe here for a moment, pressing the hands back toward the floor. Lifting through the front of the chest, keeping the neck fairly neutral. Neck down, pardon, chin down toward the throat, toward the collarbones. And now turn the head to the right, please. And it's okay if we can't get as far as we usually would be able to without that bind. Turn the head back to the front. And turn the head to the left, please. Head back to the front. If there's any numbness or tingling, if this is too much, let the hands go. Take right ear over right shoulder. Tip long through the left side of the neck. Still breathing as we go. Lift the head back up. And take left ear over left shoulder, long through the right side of the neck. Head back up. Gentle release of the hands. And go ahead and shift forwards. Make your way onto hands and knees. And we'll take the hips up and back, straight back to down dog. Pedaling the feet a bit, or if you'd like, we can take a deep bend in the knees and slowly straighten the knees back out, kind of flossing through the backs of the hamstrings, through the calves. And find stillness in our down dog once again. On your inhale, shift to a plank or a kneeling plank. Stay to breathe here. Chest drops between the shoulders. Head lifts forward slightly again, almost thinking of rounding. Cat pose in the lower spine, lifting the chest. Cow pose in the upper spine. Hips up, back to down dog. On your inhale, knees hover an inch or two away from the floor. Floated tabletop. Hips up, back to down dog. This time, plank or kneeling, plank shoulders all the way forwards. Breathing here. Hips up, back to down dog. And inhale, knees hover, floated tabletop. Hips up, down dog. Now, please walk the feet forwards. Come into a forward fold at the top of your mat. Cross the arms at the elbows. Maybe hold on to triceps or hold on to forearms. Knees can bend. We can take a very deep bend, almost like we're starting to sit back into chair pose. Nod the head yes. Relax the jaw, relax the eyebrows. And next exhale, release the hands back to the floor. Inhale to a half lift, shoulder blades back, heart lifts forwards, still keeping the navel strong. Exhale, release to forward fold. A little bend in the knees if you'd like to. Inhale, raise all the way up, hands overhead. And hands to heart center, exhale. Inhale, raise the arms straight up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. This time, take the arms wide. Pull the shoulder blades into the back. Inhale, raise up like a reverse swan dive high. Hands to heart center. I'll do this 2 more times. Inhale, arms straight up overhead. Exhale, fold. Hands through heart center. Inhale, half lift, heart forwards. Exhale, fold. Arms wide. Inhale, raise all the way up. Hands toward one another above the head. Hands to heart. Last round. Inhale, arms raise. Through heart center, forward fold. Half lift. Exhale, fold. Arms wide. Inhale, raise all the way up. Hands overhead. And hands to heart. This time we'll take 2 sun A. Inhale, arms raise. Exhale, forward fold. Half lift. Fold, plant the hands, move back to a plank or a kneeling plank. Exhale, lower. Take your preferred vinyasa. Heart lifts forwards into your back bend. Navel strong. Exhale, back to down dog. We can shorten the stance, knowing your down dog may be shorter than your plank stance. 2 more breaths here in down dog. Exhale, hugs the navel. Inhale, expands through the chest slightly. After your exhale, walk, step, or hop forwards. Half lift back at the top of your mat. Shoulders back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, raise all the way up. Hands overhead. Hands to heart center. Second sun A. Inhale, arms raise. Exhale, fold. Half lift. Fold, plant the hands, move back, plank or kneeling. Exhale, lower vinyasa, shoulder blades into the back, elbows sweep rib cage. Navel strong, back to down dog. Once again, checking in with a slight lift in the chest, slight strength at the navel, keeping this contrast throughout our practice. And walk, step, or hop forwards, half lift at the top. Interlace hands behind the back like we did in our seat, or grab a small towel or strap between the hands if you need more space. Fold forwards, knees can bend as we did at first. Hands raise away from the low back, maybe behind the head. Inhale back to a half lift, release hands to knees or shins. Exhale, fold. Raise all the way up, hands overhead. Hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up overhead once again. Exhale, fold. Inhale to half lift. Fold, plant the hands, right leg back, runner's lunge. Long stance between the feet, staying here. Right heel over the ball of the right foot. Left knee forwards over the ankle. If you need to, lengthen the stance. As you exhale, tap the right knee down to the floor. Inhale, straighten the right knee back up. Exhale, bend toward the floor. Inhale, back up. Exhale, bend to the floor, landing. From here, take the navel away from the left leg as you inhale, raise up to kneeling lunge. 3 times, elbows wide. Exhale, open the chest. Same idea. Navel draws back. Inhale, raise the arms. Go pulse, pull the backs of the wrists, backs of the hands back. Inhale, lift up. Once more, exhale, elbows wide. Raise the arms. Exhale, fold, hands down around the left foot. Straighten the right knee back off the floor. Inhale, left arm up to the ceiling, revolved runner's lunge, lifting high up and out of right shoulder, up over left shoulder. And release the hands back down around left foot. Inhale, left leg back to three-legged dog. Toes point toward the floor. Inside seam of the leg lifts. Down dog, release. Inhale, plank or kneeling plank. 3 breaths here. And exhale, lower all the way down onto the floor. Locust pose, hands back around the hips. Let's take the palm down variation. Pull the front of the shoulders away from the floor. Hands can stay to the ground. Chest peels away from the floor. Breathing. If you'd like, we can float the legs, but making sure we're still focusing on lifting strong through the spine. And exhale, release. Hands around the rib cage. Move back to down dog through knees or toes. After your exhale, walk, step, or hop your way forwards. Come back up to the top, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up, hands overhead. Hands to heart center. Other side, inhale, arms raise. Exhale, forward fold. Half lift. Fold, plant the hands, step your left leg back, runner's lunge, long stance, check in with your back foot. Take the heel forward over the ball of left foot. If you need to, slide the right foot farther out in front of you. As you exhale, tap the left knee on or toward the floor, bending in. Inhale, straighten left knee away from the ground. Exhale, bend to the floor. Inhale, straighten left knee. Exhale, bend to the floor. Leaving it here. As you inhale, take the navel away from the right leg. Lift up, kneeling lunge. Navel pulls away from the thigh 3 times, elbows wide. Exhale, open the chest. Inhale, arms lift up. Elbows wide, exhale to open. Inhale, raise. Exhale, open back. Lift the arms. Fold, hands down around the right foot. Straighten the left knee off the floor, revolved runner's lunge. Inhale to lift through right arm. Notice if we're collapsing into left shoulder. See if we can lift up and out away from the left hand. And release the right hand back to the floor. Right leg back to three-legged dog, lifting through inside seam, toes point toward the ground. Down dog, release. Plank or kneeling plank, stay about 3 breaths once again. And exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. Hands back around hips again, palms to the floor. Inhale, lift to locust pose, front of the shoulders away from the ground, opening the chest like we would for cow pose. And exhale, release, hands around rib cage. Move back to down dog. Walk, step, or hop forwards. Half lift back at the top of your mat. Exhale, fold. Raise all the way up, hands overhead. Hands to heart center. Take the hands to your hips. Shift the weight into your left leg. Please hug in just above pubic bone, just above tailbone. And float right knee up in front of the hip, single leg stance. And begin to extend the right leg back as though we'd come through warrior 3. We'll step back into crescent lunge. Step right toes, right ball of foot back. Inhale to lift the arms, draw back through the navel. Exhale to twist, right arm forward, left arm behind, opening left shoulder blade back. Same strength we hopefully had through our locust pose. Heart forwards, inhale, lift the arms up. As you exhale, ground right heel opening into warrior two. If you need to, lengthen your stance. We can change where the feet land. Inhale, arms up overhead, interlace the fingers, turn the palms up. A little reminiscent of our practices over the past couple Tuesdays. Lean in about halfway, coming into side angle without any support from the bottom. Right side stays strong. Inhale, reach back, reverse warrior. Right hand can find right leg. Stack the spine back to warrior two. Breathing here. And straightening the left leg, take the toes in front of the heels and interlace hands behind the back. Bound wide leg fold. Open the chest, open the shoulders. Exhale to fold chest toward the floor, hands raising away from the low back. Tipping the weight into the ball of the foot and the toes, backs of the legs stay active so we don't somersault over. Inhale, wide leg half lift. From here, plant the right hand below your face onto the floor, or if you'd like, onto a block. Taking left hand to left hip, roll the chest open, left shoulder stacks over right, and we can stay here or extend left arm up to the ceiling. And release left hand to the floor or block. We may need to shift where the block is if that is the option we're taking. Take right hand to right hip. Roll the chest open toward the back of the mat. Right shoulder over left. We can extend the right arm up. Notice how much the hips are shifting. They can shift a little bit, but see if we can keep the priority of the twist into the upper spine instead of shifting through hip joints. And release the right hand back to floor or block. Slide your block forwards. This will come through this side for the other side in a moment. Pivot the right toes to what is now going to be the front of your mat, the original back of your mat. Right leg forwards, left leg back. From here, inhale, stand up, crescent lunge. Twisting, left arm forward, right arm behind. Heart forwards, inhale, lift the arms up. Ground the left heel, oop, don't fall over. Ground the left heel open into warrior two. Again, adjusting the feet if you need to. Inhale the arms up overhead, interlace the fingers, turn the palms up. Talking's hard today. Leaning into side angle, unsupported. So if you really want to, if you need to, if you prefer it for your practice, set the arm down, but see if we can waken up that left side. Inhale, reverse warrior, left hand to left leg, right arm lifts. Stack the spine back to warrior two. Inhale, straighten the right leg, come into star pose, hands up at the corners. Interlace hands behind the back, awkward grip. Again, open the chest, open the shoulders. And exhale, bound wide leg fold. Inhale, wide leg half lift. Release the hands to the floor. If you'd like, grab your block again. Maybe plant the left hand closer toward the right foot, more toward the back of the mat. Left hand stays to floor or block. Right hand to right hip, roll open, twisting. Right hand can lift high over the shoulders. Just a more exaggerated variation of our twist. The base may change, or we can keep it in the center. If you'd like, more toward right foot. And release the right hand to block or floor, switching sides. Again, if you'd like, block or hand straight below the face. If you'd prefer to add on from previously, we can take the right hand closer toward left foot, opening left hand to hip or all the way up over the shoulders. And release the left hand back to the floor or block. Slide the block out of your way and pivot. Left toes to the front of the mat, the original front of the mat. Runner's lunge. From here, inhale left leg back to three-legged dog. Stay to breathe. If you'd like, open through left hip over right hip, raising through the outside seam of left leg. If you'd like, add on, bending the knee, pressing left footprint behind you. Inhale, straight back, level hips for three-legged dog, and down dog release. Plank or kneeling plank. Exhale, lower all the way down, landing, arms into a goalpost shape. Take the feet toward mat width. As you inhale, lift up, raising the wrists, raising the backs of the knuckles toward the ceiling. Staying here, breathing. We will take this dynamically later, but for now, staying. And exhale, release hands around rib cage, navel off the floor, move back to down dog. Walk, step, or hop forwards, half lift at the top of the mat. Forward fold. Raise all the way up, hands overhead. Hands to heart center. Take your hands to the hips, please. And shift your weight into the right leg. Bending left knee up toward the height of the hip again, hugging from the pelvis up. Slowly moving left foot behind you through a brief warrior three back to crescent lunge. Inhale, take the arms up overhead. Hands to heart center. Twist left elbow on or toward your right thigh if you need to. We may need to lengthen our stance a little bit, or we may opt to take a lifted twist instead of our folded twist. Legs strong. Inhale, stand back up, crescent lunge. Ground the left heel, open the hips, warrior two. This time taking our passive side angle. Right elbow on or toward your right thigh, lifting the left arm up overhead, or if you'd prefer, right hand can come to the floor, left arm can stay straight up, or extend it forward for our extended side angle. Legs strong. Inhale, reverse warrior. Right arm lifts, left hand can find left leg. Stack the spine, warrior two. Coming into star pose and straight into goddess pose. Straighten the right leg, arms up at the corners. Heels in, toes out. Twice to goddess. Exhale, sit back. Inhale, raise. Exhale, sit back. Inhale, lift up. This time, lower the hands onto the tops of the legs. Arms take some of the weight here. Twisting, drop the left shoulder. Twist to the front of your mat. Inhale, back to the center. Twist to the back of your mat. Drop right shoulder. Inhale, middle. One more each side. Left shoulder drops. Twist to the front. Inhale, center. Right shoulder drops. Twist to the back. Lifting up to the center, legs strong. Go ahead and stand up. From here, whoop, don't fall backwards. Pivot, take the left toes to the back of the mat. Y'all, I swear I did not have any Cinco de Mayo margaritas beforehand. Your girl is dry. Take the right heel off of the floor from the back leg, coming into crescent lunge. Inhale, arms up overhead. Mom can attest, this is just me on a normal day. Hands to heart center. Taking our twist, either without the fold, twisting back through left shoulder, or right elbow can come on or toward your left thigh. Legs strong. Inhale, stand back up, crescent lunge. And lift. Ankles. Abs. I swear it's like the same time in the class all the time. Wide leg fold with our bind. Yes, mother, I know I'm going in and out. I can't do a thing about it, I'm afraid. Okay, let's give that a shot. All right, go ahead and come into a half lift out of your wide leg fold and pivot back into a runner's lunge. I think we're good now at the top of the mat. All right, so right leg is forwards, left leg should be back. Yes, I believe that's right. All right, right leg back to three-legged dog. Sorry about that, guys. And down dog release. Plank or kneeling plank. Exhale, lower all the way down. We'll take it dynamically this time, so do make sure you have room in front of you on your mat. Arms into a goalpost shape. Hover up, lift through the backs of the wrists, lift through the knuckles, lift through the legs. We'll take the legs wide. As you inhale, take the arms forwards toward one another, legs toward one another. As you exhale, pull the elbows back, legs wide. Inhale, streamline. Exhale, pull back. 2 more times. Inhale, streamline. Exhale, pull back. Streamline. Pull back. Take the hands around the rib cage, set them down, and bring the toes back toward hip width. Please come back into child's pose. Resting here, breathing. It's really our first rest of the practice, pretty far in. And walk the hands over to the left side of the mat. Curve long through right side from right hip to right hand. And walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. Curve long through whole left side body. Hands back to the center. Go ahead and walk the hands forwards into kneeling dog or puppy pose. If you do have your block nearby, you're welcome to hold the block long ways between the hands, keeping the elbows just slightly more narrow than the shoulders. Chest releases toward the floor, elbows bend so the block starts to move behind the back or the thumbs start to move behind the back. If you feel like we're falling all the way back into the heels, we can slide elbows farther out in front of you. And lift the chest away from the floor. We can set the block off to the side. Sliding right arm under left shoulder, thread the needle, right cheek or temple can land, breathing into the right side of the arm. Maybe you feel this more into the bottom arm through right shoulder. Maybe you feel this more on the outside of left shoulder, maybe the outside of the tricep, maybe into the shoulder blade. And switch sides, right arm forward, left arm under right shoulder, other side, left cheek or temple can land. And rebuild back up onto hands and knees. Tuck the toes under, hover the knees back off the floor, coming into our floating tabletop. Hips up, back to down dog. Walk, step, or hop forwards, half lift at the top of the mat. Exhale, fold. Raise all the way up, hands overhead. Hands to heart center. So we transitioned through a very brief, maybe even didn't hit warrior 3 to step back to our crescent lunge. We're going to come into warrior 3 this time and step back. Hands to heart center. Shift your weight into left foot, hug up through the navel, up through the feet, the arches, and start to float right knee up toward the height of the hip. Trying to keep the hips level as we extend the right leg back, so not turning open through right hip. Try to keep the toes pointed toward the floor. Think of lifting the inside seam of your right leg. This will help keep the right hip even with the left, dropped down a little bit. And step back to our crescent lunge. Right toes, right ball of foot land back, navel lifts away from the chest. And we'll fold and twist. Take the right elbow on or toward left thigh again. If you'd like, we can take the arms floor to ceiling outside the left knee. Notice what your hips do if they get all wonky out to the side. Think of pulling your right hip forwards. Think of lifting your right hip just like we did in our warrior 3. Stand up. Inhale, arms back up, overhead. Hands to heart center. Shift the weight into your left leg. Step the right foot forward, standing up at the top of the mat. Whew. Lots with the left leg. And shift your weight into right foot, right leg. Bend the left knee up toward the height of the hip. And extend the left leg back. Again, think of lifting through the inside seam of your left leg. Left hip stays dropped toward the height of the right hip. And stepping left foot back, crescent lunge. Adjust your stance if you need to. And twist left elbow on or toward right thigh. Again, arms can open floor to ceiling, or we can stay with the bind here, noticing if we're really shifting into the right hip. See if we can move the right hip back towards center line and keep the weight strong into both legs, legs active instead of collapsing into the bones. On your inhale, raise the arms back up overhead. Hands to heart center. Step left foot forwards, standing strong at the top of the mat. Inhale, arms up overhead. Fold, plant the hands, step back with your right leg, lizard pose. Right knee sets to the floor. Walk the left leg outside left arm. Allow the hips, allow the heart to move forwards, lifting through the chest. Again, think of lifting the spine almost into a cow pose, at least in the chest and the upper back. Navel stays drawn back to keep the twist, keep the stretch into the front of right hip. Like we did before with our kneeling lunge, straighten the right knee off the ground, floating the back knee for lizard. And exhale, release the right knee. Inhale, straighten off the floor. Exhale, bend the right knee. Inhale, straighten off. And bend the right knee, landing. Add on if you'd like. We can lower down onto the forearms. We can add our twist, maybe our bind. And release. Walk the left leg below the chest. Coming back into runner's lunge. Straighten the right knee off the floor. Maybe hop the right toes forwards a little bit. We're going to stand up into a half warrior three. Left leg strong, lift up. Right foot straight back behind. Like our warrior three. Lift through the inside seam of the leg. Hips fairly even. Release the right foot. Forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Plant the hands, left leg back. Lizard pose. Set the left knee to the floor and walk the right leg outside. Right arm. Lifting the chest, left hip forwards. Tucking the left toes under. As you inhale, straighten left knee off the floor. Exhale, bend left knee back to the floor. Inhale, straighten off the floor. Exhale, back to the floor. Inhale, straighten up. And release to breathe. If you'd like, staying here, keeping the chest lifted, lowering to elbows, twist, bind, maybe both. And release. Walk the right leg back below the chest. Straighten the left knee off the floor if you need to. Shorten the stance so we have success in standing into the right leg. Fingertips forwards or to blocks. Stand into right leg to lift left leg. Lift through inside seam. And release left foot. Forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Plant the hands, step back to plank or kneeling. Exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. Taking the left arm out to the side for shoulder roll. Roll onto left hip, left side body. Right knee can turn up, right arm can reach back or keep to the ground in front of you. And roll back onto the chest. Take the right arm out, straight out our goal post for shoulder roll. Roll onto right hip, right side body. Left limbs can reach back or stay to the ground in front of you. And roll back onto the chest. Hands around rib cage. Please come back into a wide leg child's pose. Knees wider than rib cage and hips. Torso can rest on or between the legs. Allowing the breath to slow. Again, feeling the legs, the arms land into the floor. Even as you rest here in what is a forward fold, a very restful forward fold, feel a slight lift in the chest as you inhale, a slight energy up the spine, lengthening. And exhale, that stability, that strength back into the navel. And rebuild back up onto hands and knees. Go ahead and walk the knees forwards and release all the way onto your back. low power mode. We're good. We're good. We got time for Shavasana. Release all the way onto your back. Please back to bridge pose that we took in the beginning. Arms down on either side of the torso. Anchor the feet to about hip width. As you inhale, raise hip creases, raise hip points, lifting strong through the tops of the legs. Glutes are helping, but not scrunching, not squeezing. And release spine and hips back to the floor. Take the arms wide out to the sides. Pick the feet up, knees above hips or navel. Cross the right leg over the top of the left. We'll come into our reclined twist. If that crossed variation is not comfortable for you, keep the legs parallel as they would be normally. Release the legs to the left. Head can turn to the right. Again, we can shift where left hip is, where the whole pelvis is. Breathing into right chest, right side body, down into low back and right hip. And pressing the left arm into the ground, take the legs back up. And we will switch sides. Left leg over the top of the right. Crossed legs, legs released to the right. Or if you'd prefer the not crossed option, take whatever one feels comfortable in your body today. Head can turn to the left. Breathing down left side, left hip, low back. And pressing the right arm into the floor, take the legs back up. Uncrossing, hug both knees up into the chest. Keeping the left knee in like we did in the beginning. Inhale to extend the right leg out and away. Navel still stays strong. Exhale, right knee back into the chest. Left leg inhale, extend out, foot flexed away. Exhale, back in. Inhale, right leg extend out to stay out, or if you'd prefer, we can plant a right foot and bend right knee to the ceiling. Take the hands around the back of the left calf, circling through left ankle, moving slowly. We took a couple balance poses, couple balancey transitions. And switching the rotation, opposite circle. Now plant right foot to the floor, bend right knee to the ceiling if it's not already. Left ankle over right thigh, left knee away from the left shoulder. If you'd like, pick up, staying with our active variation, or add on, make it passive. We may take the other option we chose to not take in the beginning, maybe hitting both in our practice, or we can take the same one. Release right foot and left foot back to the floor. And switch. Hug both knees up into the chest. Inhale, extend your right leg long down the length of the mat. Just kidding. Right knee back into the chest. Left leg, inhale, extend long down the length of the mat. Now, straighten the right footprint up toward the ceiling. Hands around right hamstring, circling through right ankle. And circle into the opposite direction. And bend the left knee, plant the left footprint to the floor, cross right ankle over left thigh. Right knee away, active, pick up the left foot. Arms can rest at the sides or make it passive. Holding on to left leg as right knee still presses away from you. And release left foot and right foot back to the floor. One last round of bridge pose, arms down on either side of the torso. Press the feet in, anchor the shoulders back, lift through hip points, hip creases, breathing here. Navel still draws back. Every exhale, even feeling like we're tipping back with the breath, like the hip points drop back more toward lowest ribs as we exhale. Inhale lifts higher through hip creases and the tops of the legs. And release spine and hips back to the floor. Anchor the lower spine to the floor. Hug the knees to the chest. Add on, if you'd like, another round of figure 4, though we did already take 2. You could take happy baby, recline butterfly, additional twists, bug pose, ending your practice as you need. And notice how you feel now after our physical practice, before our mental, subtle practice. How is the energy in the body? How do we feel now compared to when we started, as we were setting up for our practice, as we were settling into our practice, when we were in the thick of it? Notice how this energy, this presence may change. And begin to observe your breath once again as you rest. Aware of the breath coming from the inside of the body, the slight expansion from the inside out. All exhales draw back in toward the center line of the body, toward the navel, toward the floor, whatever action resonates most with resting and releasing to you. Be aware of the breath along the center line of the spine. As you inhale, see or feel the breath rise to heart center. As you exhale, see or feel the breath lower to navel center. Inhale to heart center. Exhale to navel center. Inhale, heart. Exhale to navel, keeping your awareness of the breath moving slowly, smoothly through these 2 points. Now, please bring your awareness to a single point of breath. Single point of awareness between heart and navel. Aware of the subtle, natural expansion and release of breath at this point. Return your awareness to the intention you had set at the beginning of your practice. Perhaps an intention of observation, of presence, whatever had resonated with you at the beginning. If it still does, continue to work with this intention. If you need to, we can reshape how it's phrased, reshape the feeling, or maybe a different word or idea entirely came up during your practice. Resting with this stillness, with your intention. Please begin to expand your awareness back out into the torso, into the limbs, toward hands and feet. Start to move the fingers and the toes. Bend the ankles and the wrists. Rock the head from side to side. Bend the elbows. Walk the feet back to hug the knees into the chest, giving the legs a squeeze. Be aware of anything on either side of you, rolling to one side to take a few breaths. And pressing the hands into the floor, coming up to a tall seat. Legs can cross again, spine stacked tall. And breathing back into this single point of awareness between heart and navel. And taking your intention with you, placing it at this space. Coming back to it at any point, back to any tools, any techniques we use in our practice, anything you find beneficial, centering, anything that helps take you back toward this state. Bring the palms together at heart center, bowing your head to your chest, acknowledging your breath, your peace, and all that you are. Namaste. Hi guys, thanks for practicing with me today. If you'd like to see more videos, if you'd perhaps like to see more of Miko's arm being shoved under the door, I'll link a couple right here. I'll link my page. I'll link the most recent series or video. And subscribe if you would like to let yourself know when I put out a new video. What do you think, Miko? Do you think that's a good idea? I think that's a good idea.